time to get started. Okay, so let's just say, yeah, this is where we actually were working in the last session. I'm in a dev space. So as you all know how we can enable the database, ensure that it is running. I am not going into too detail. I am just preparing the necessary setup that we would need for this session. I'll just start this. Okay, and this dev space is also starting. So yeah, let it be working. Okay, so before we go into the quick recap, because as it's starting, let's just utilize this time in doing something else. Let's just start with what we are going to learn today. So we do have our BTP system. What is that? It's a cloud system. We do have our S4HANA system, or I can say S4HANA on-premise, okay, which is an on-premise system which is running. And I do have multiple services, let's just say, running over here. So if I just open my SAP HANA box on-premise system over here in my SAP GUI, I'll open this. Okay, and for example, so I can have multiple services which are already running. So if I just take some specific one, for example, some sort of services which we had generated for certain reports. So for example, certain list report application for some overview page and likewise. Okay, okay, let me just show you what it would be containing. Okay, it won't allow me to go, okay, directly over here. Okay, so it is already containing certain service, okay, because it's published. It is containing database, or I can say SQL view. It is containing certain charts, relevant information, certain presentation variant, certain views, certain tables defined using UI line item, certain filter criteria specified. Okay, so it's a rough application which has been prepared, and what was the purpose of developing this? It was a ALP, analytical list page. Okay, so we do have a service. So we would be considering this as an example that we do have a service underscore CDS, which is a on-premise ALP service application, a ALP service. I can say ALP app OData service. Okay, now what we want is we want to generate some UI application on top of that. Now, if we want to generate a UI application, definitely we can go with some sort of web ID as well. If I want business application studio, we can also go with that, and I can deploy it on my ABAP platform. But then what it would be? It would be my UI application deployed on my on-premise system again. Okay, but what I want is I want a connection from my cloud platform, and it is connecting to my on-premise system for its server. Okay, what is this? These are nothing but a client server architecture. So my client would be working on a cloud, and it would have a data source. It would have a service which would be working on premise. Okay, it means we need a way for these two systems to be connected. Okay, and how we can do that? For that, we do have something called a cloud connector. So now it should be clear by the name that what it is. It is a cloud connector which help a on-premise system to connect to cloud. That is one terminology. Helps to connect on-premise system to cloud, or I can say vice versa. So cloud connector is a two-way connector, helps you to connect your on-premise system to cloud or cloud system to on-premise or cloud to another cloud likewise. So it is ultimately, so if I say BTP, what it is built of? BTP is built up of multiple services already being provided, or I can say built-in services already being provided by SAP. Correct. On top of that, we can have certain subscription instance we can create. But if I want to consume something which is not part of a BTP, I always have to specify that information in my cloud connector. Okay. So what I have to do is I have to create a address. I have to map the address of that remote system in my cloud connector. And once it is done, I would create a destination. So this is cloud connector is nothing but you can think of a URL, which would say, okay, what is the path? What is its internal host? What is the virtual host and everything? Now, that internal host and virtual host, anything can differ. I mean, let's just say on development system, I am hosting a server on XYZ 1234 port number. On quality system, I might host it on QZY 1234. So if I do have a system which is running over here on dev, running on different port on Q, but I want to build a UI application on top of that, which is connecting to this system, then if my URL change, I have to keep on changing this application, my UI application as well. And that's why a destination came into picture. A destination purpose is to give a static name for a system or a service. Okay, so it gives a static name for a system or a service. So I would always say that I do have a ALP on-premise service. That's it. Now this ALP on-premise service, if I check its parameter on dev, it would be pointing to this. If I do have the same setup with the same name available on quality, here my address would be, here my address would differ. It would say, oh, where I, okay, it would say that it's some other service. Okay, but when I think from a perspective of a UI application development, it would always be considering, okay, it would always be considering the same name. On top of that, any sort of authentication mechanism we want to specify and everything before my service actually is reached or it's connected to. This everything can be set up over here in the destination. So this two combination of a cloud connector and destination are responsible for inter-system connections. Okay. Now let's just say if I want to do that setup, how I can do that. So if I just go in my system, okay, I do have it running. I'll just open this as well. I'll just check whether I do have this running as well. And now I'll just go over here and say, I want to go in my trial account. Now, as we mentioned earlier, what it is, if I just go over here, this is my whole BTP account. If I just go in my account, I would have multiple sub account, and one sub account denotes one system landscape. You can think of a dev, quality, production, or anything you want to name it as. For example, I'm going over here. Now in my individual system, I can establish a combination of connectivity. So can you see this connectivity node? which says I can have the cloud connectors and the destinations. So if I just go in the destinations, I can create new destinations over here easily. Okay, I can create any sort of destination I want to create using new destination. In case I do have some sort of destination already exported or a JSON format of that, you can import that as well. Now, if I think from a perspective of a perspective of cloud connector, I'll just click over here. You would find something. Don't worry, I'll let you know. So this cloud connector, can you see here it is saying connected. You can disconnect that as well. Initially in your account, in your personal BTP account, if you see, if you have not connected that, you would find it as a you won't find anything. I mean, it would be disconnected by default. You have to set up a connection to this cloud connector because the entries in the cloud connectors over here are not maintained here directly. What it is saying, expose backend system. These are nothing but your backend system, S4HANA, one of your backend system, and you cannot have a create button over here. For that, you need one more. I can say you need a cloud connector local wizard. Okay, so what ideally we do is, if you just see over here, I do have something called SAP Cloud Connector. So this is a kind of a software. This is a kind of a software. You can anytime go and say how to download SAP Cloud Connector, and you would find all the different, if you see installation and configuration of Cloud Connector, standard SAP blogs are there and everything. You can get this information. You can download a Cloud Connector. There is a SAP Notes also available. So you would download it. Once you have downloaded, you have activate, or I can say install the application. It would generate a port. So if I just say localhost, can you see this 8443? That's a default port in which ideally it's running. And here you would find a cloud connector login. Okay. Here the default user ID is administrator. And there would be a password. So initially it would give you arbitrary password that you can copy, keep it with you. Then you can change that as well. So I have changed mine. So I'll just use my password over here and I'll just say login. And you would be able to connect to your cloud connector. So initially it would be totally blank. That's how you would be able to see that. Post which, when you want to add the sub account. So for example, I do have a trial sub account already connected. If I want to otherwise connect to that, I would say add sub account over here. So initially this screen would be blank because this cloud connector can be connected to multiple systems. When you, the moment you say install or add sub account, you would be able to select the region. Can you see? Can you correlate it with what we are currently into? Here, if you see, we are into cf.us10. Okay, it's not searching on the term, it's searching on, okay, US East. Can you see US East? It's CF US10 HANA on demand. I selected this. The moment you select this, you would be able to specify your sub account. Now this sub account and everything we have already specified. You would be able to specify the sub account ID. So this is the unique ID. This is not the one. This is the ID that you would be specifying. You would be specifying your whatever name you want to. So for example, I want to show it as a Sumit, login ID, password, and the moment you add that, your sub account would be connected over here. Okay. Now, once you have configured this, okay, as I have connected this quite a time ago, but I don't have any sort of connection. If you see, it says check cloud to on-premise or access control. So nothing has been specified, and that is why it is showing it as a yellow. Now I want to connect a system, a on-premise system. So what I'll do is I'll just click on cloud to on-premise. Okay, so I'll just go over here, and on my cloud to on-premise, I have to do the setup. Okay, so on my cloud to on-premise, I have to do the setup of the system on which I would be working on. So I would do cloud to on-premise over here, and here you have to map the virtual system. I'll just say plus, and here you would be able to figure out that what particular system you want to connect it to, what it is. So I'll just say, okay, it's a SAP HANA system. Where I was, yeah, it was a SAP HANA system. I'll go next. I'll say, okay, let's just follow HTTP protocol, depending on how your system is connected. Now you have to specify certain internal host. So I do have, if I just go over here, I'll open this. So if I want to get the system detail, I can also say, oops.
Slash again slash you need to give after slash.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Okay, it proves you are here. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so yep. Let's call the browser. Can you see? It is giving me some sort of information saying whatever my system is, this is how it is connected to. That this is the information. I would keep it over here. Okay, and I would need certain thing which would also be available over here. So for example, there are two kind of connections. Okay, one is internal, one is virtual. I'll just copy this as well. So this S/4HANA 1909 system, this is something which is one of those addresses, and I can also have it like this. So the port number would be same, but I do have two of them. One virtual would be there. I'll just close this. I'll just go over here and say I want to specify my information. So I'll just go over here, copy this, because we have already specified that it is of type HTTP. So I'll just specify S/4HANA 8701. Sorry, my bad.
Sumit?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, if there is any router string, then we need to give the router string or application server IP.
So you have to give the routers thing. So depending on what would be the actual
Connection.
call that would get triggered. So actual call would get triggered on the app router because we are not specifying internal one.
Okay.
App router would be responsible to connect to the actual backend service. So in that case, we would be connecting to the app router.
Okay, fine.
So this is what cloud connector is nothing but a face of your application where I can expect a call to get triggered. And that's why if you see, this is nothing but a client side. Client side can connect over here. Client can connect only to app router, not the backend system.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just go over here next. Now this particular system, I'll just go over here and say, oh, where did I specify that? Okay, I'll just copy this. Port number would be same. I'll just say next. Now there are multiple principal types. So carbos or so this is how certificate, authentication certificate would be propagated. So in real account, so this is my trial account. In real account, you would also find this X.509 authentication certificate enabled. So it's a kind of basis concept, but Carbos is something which is a default authentication certificate provider. It would pass on the authentication certificate, authentication token. So I'll just use that. Okay, and then we would be using, let's just say what we created, the virtual host for our connection, and we can say connection to my S4H. I'll just check the connectivity, say finish. If you see, it says reachable because we have specified all the details, and as the connection is reachable, it would say reachable. But if you check the status, it says there are no accessible resources. Okay. So when I say there are no accessible resources, what are the resources ideally? Okay, I'll just show you over here. For example, this is also one of the important, very helpful blog. You can also go anytime with that. That's a specified by standard SAP. Some SAP guy specified that. They are also configuring this. They set up the cloud connector, everything is working. Now, one thing you would find over here is the resources. So these are the resources. Can you correlate what it is? It's nothing but any sort of resource that would be needed over here. So for example, for me to access this service, I would need this resource. If I want to connect to some other service being exposed, which is not in a form of a REST API or data, I would need some other resource as well. Okay. For me to connect to all the required resource in a single go, what I can do is I can just say plus the URL path I'll be just specifying as a slash, or I can, yeah, and I'll just say path, I mean the current path and all the path which is coming beyond that. So if I say a slash flow post slash, I can have a slash SAP slash OPU slash OPUO data, all the subpath as well. So all the path I want to consider. I'll just say save. And if you see now, the status is saying accessible resources are also available. Okay. So I am able to connect my cloud connector. Now this cloud connector, the moment I connect, I'll just go over here. If I just go in my cloud connector, can you see that particular cloud connector system is now available over here? I did not created it over here, but it just got connected via the cloud connector setup I do have, because I have connected my trial sub account with that. In your real system as well. So this was the trial account. In real account as well, if you ask, mostly this activity is something that your basis person would be doing, but you have to always keep on providing him what system you want to connect and its detail. So if you find in your real BTP account as well, you won't find a plus button over here. They would also be required to connect to their sub account using this cloud connector administration. And that is where this is from where they would be able to maintain it. Okay. Now, one thing I also am not so sure about is whether this cloud connector that they are using would also be a local host, or they do have a hosted application which they are using for that, because I have not tried it out. In trial account, I have done it for myself, where I am using the kind of a trial version of that. But in real, whether it's a local application or a hosted one, that's something maybe I'm also not sure about it. But yeah, one thing is for sure, they do also have a separate application as a part of which they ideally maintain all of this. Okay. Now we do have a cloud connector. Now I want to create a destination. So I would be creating a destination. I'll just say new destination over here. And here I would say a name. So you can give any name. So if you see, I was saying that I would be using this service. This would be my destination. But what we were able to achieve, if you see, I just connected the whole system. I just connected the whole system instead, right? So now S4HANA SAP OPO data would have SAP ALP CDS as well as CALP as well as OVP as well as LR or employee service, anything and everything, any new service which are getting created over here. So it's not a specific service I connected to, but I connected to a whole backend system. So I can say EDU Ocean S4H system. So I connected to a S4H system. So that's what I will be mentioning it over here. So here we have to provide the URL. Okay. Now this URL that you would be providing should be what has been specified in the cloud connectors. So I'll just say copy this from here. Okay, and you would be specifying HTTP. Now, what is the kind of system we are connecting to? We are connecting to on-premise system. On the authentication, we are going with a basic authentication. And ideally, you should be specifying only technical user over here. But as I am the only user, I would be specifying over here. In case, that's for your knowledge, in case you are connecting to any system which where you expect um, some sort of router based configuration you already mentioned, right? There we won't be going with a basic authentication. You would be going with a either user token exchange or JWT token or OAuth to SAML bearer assertion, because your app router ideally generates a bearer token. That bearer token ideally is dedicated to a set of systems. This audience is nothing but your platform, your dev, quality, and all the platform, those are considered. This token service URL is nothing but your authentication URL. But these are all the things that anyway we won't be configuring in real world as well, because that's something a basis person would look after. But you should be knowing that, because in case just because of destination your initial setup is not working, we should be in a position to judge that what would be something that is going wrong. So I'll just say S4HA50 and I'll just specify the password. Now, if I want to use this system, so this is the destination that just got connected. And now if I want to use this system for the purpose of any application generation, for any web ID or business application studio, I have to specify certain new properties. So for example, I will just say HTML file dynamic destination. So these are dynamic destination that would get connected via cloud connector. Another thing you have to specify is what is the SAP client, because my SAP system can have multiple clients. You just specified this address, right? Afterward, I am going into 800. I also do have 400. So you have to specify that. So I'll just say 800. I'll just say new. Then let's just say what is the kind of SAP platform it is. And it's nothing but my ABAP platform. Then let's just say I would be specifying web ID. This web ID enable is very important. Okay. Till the time you don't specify that, you won't be able to use this destination for your applications generation. Post which, let's just say, I would have to specify when I was saying web ID enabled, what is the web ID system? So I'll just say it is a gateway system. And what all services you would be using this application for. So I'll just, so there are predefined web ID usage. So I'm not sure whether we would be able to. There should be some standard block. Ideally, there are predefined set of values. Okay, so for example, o data underscore abap, that is the this usage, that dev underscore abap. These are certain keywords that we would be using. Okay, so we want to use the development platform, ABAP platform, and OData ABAP. So this is what we would be specifying for an on-premise system connection. Just say save. The moment you save that, you would be able to check the connection of it. Can you see? It says connection to the system is successful. So now you are able to use this system as well. So your connection to this particular system is successful just because the URL that you specified is connected via cloud connector. So in many a case, whenever you are also working in your real project, you would find that even though I'm specifying everything correct in the destination, just because the cloud connector mapping was incorrect, I'm not able to use that. Okay. And for the other kind of destination, for example, whenever we specified a web cloud connect environment, so this kind of system, it ideally took, I can say, authentic destination, it automatically generates. Just for your knowledge, what it is doing is it is having a URL. This is for your a web cloud environment. It's the address of that. It goes with a user token exchange. This SB is nothing but your system. Okay. And there are certain tokens, and this is the token URL from where the authentication token would get generated. That sort of thing.
Sumit,
Yeah, please.
I tried to connect to the cloud connector with the same thing, whatever you did, but still I'm facing like 500 failed to sign into the cloud connector. Like that, some error is coming for me.
Okay, so you are talking of this local.
Yes, yes. Means just connection, sub trial account, sub account we have created, right, for this cloud connector. Trial sub account,
Yeah,
not a,
yeah.
no, no,
Uh,
no. In that cloud connector only, in the
hmm.
same thing. Here you have created a trial sub account, right?
Right, right.
So there you are going to give the sub account ID and all those things.
Yeah.
The same way I'm giving the last time also, but I'm facing like a 500 fail to sign into the cloud connector certificate for the sub account, like that. Some message it is coming.
Can you show me?
Yes, yes. I will connect to from the another system. 1 second.
So, I mean, before connecting to cloud to on-premise, you are just trying to connect to the sub account only, right? The very first
No,
that you are
no,
trying.
no, no. In cloud connector, just before going to the cloud on premise, we need to create one sub account in the cloud
Yeah.
connector,
Okay,
right?
that's what you
So
are
that
failing.
itself, it's not creating the trial sub account. It's not creating for me.
Okay, can you answer a
Yeah,
few
I am
questions?
sharing.
Yeah, can you answer a few questions?
Hmm.
While specifying sub account, are you specifying this ID or you are specifying this subdomain?
No, no, no. Sub account ID I'm sharing.
Okay. Yeah, please share your screen.
Yeah, yeah. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second, Smith. I'm
Mhm.
sharing my screen.
Okay.
I'm connecting with another system.
Mhm.
So we need to accept. Yes. Here I got this. One.
Okay, so yours is US East, this. Okay. Now, mm, 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 you need to specify the sub account. So the sub account ID that you are specifying, can you go back to your you're copying this and just pasting it over there, right? And ideally that should be it. Okay, okay, okay. Let me just take a snip of this. Okay, now can you go back again? US East, can you go back? VAAWS, yeah, that's the correct one. Sub account ID, can you copy and paste it again? I doubt there would be something. Okay, one second. Can you check? Don't you have cloud connector in your connectivity? I think you should have, right? Or it's just because of scroll bar in your real trial account?
Yes. Cloud. I didn't get you. Yes.
Or maybe okay, in your no, not over here in the trial account.
Okay.
Can you scroll down? Do you have cloud connectors as well?
No. Here I'm
Uh,
not able to
you
see that.
you should have just scroll down.
Okay. Okay. Here I'm having.
Over there. Okay, it says not connected, but you do have that, right? Okay, perfect. Just go again. Fine, that's fine. Now display name. You have to give some sort of display name. Give any display name. Region name. Proxy, you don't need to specify. Can you recheck your password, whatever you are providing?
No. Already I'm logged in from here, right? The same I have given here also.
Okay.
In the
Okay.
trial, the same thing I'm giving here.
Just say save again, or just copy paste the sub account, because I am still skeptical on the trial account that you specified. Yeah, sub account ID. Yeah.
You can just save it.
Oh, okay. Failed to sign in for this on this. Verify configuration and proxy setting log and trace file. They're missing on if successful. Region, the following entries are mandatory. Region, you have to specify sub account ID, login email and password. These are the only four things we ideally specify. That's the only thing. Mm, 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 mm. Because I'm not also going with any sort of proxy, so I don't have any proxy specified. So you also
Maybe
want
this was my company laptop. Maybe that was a problem.
no, it's not. I mean, that company laptop and trial account. I mean, this is just local, right? It's
Yes.
connected. It's connecting via something else. Okay. Okay. 1 second. I'll just share my screen, and can you ping me that sub account ID?
Sub account ID. 1 second. Yeah, Sumita has shared.
CFUS10. Okay. And user ID as well. Okay, let me share my screen once. Okay, before.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, fine.
Okay, I'll just say add sub account. Let me do one thing, like before connecting to yours, let me also connect to my another sub account. I do have multiple, right?
Yes.
So I'll just say dev system over here, which I want to connect to. So I just click on add sub account. So the same screen I'm getting over here. I want cf.ap21. Singapore Azure, is it the right one? Yes,
Yes.
Singapore and Azure. And sub account should have this sub account ID.
What you are connecting with this BTP, right? So the same you are giving here, right? Login.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Same thing I'm doing, but still I'm not getting it. Even I'm getting HTTP proxy like that. You are getting some pop-up, right? I'm not getting that pop-up. I'm getting like HTTP
So
proxy
the
and
moment you try connecting to another sub account, it would be a plus. The initial one won't have a pop-up. It would be a whole screen.
but
As I do have.
yes, you're getting like a pop-up, but I'm getting like a proxy like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The moment you are connecting to the very first one, it would be a whole screen. Can,
Okay, fine. Okay.
so I am also connected. I am also able to connect to this one.
That's not the thing because
Okay, now let me try connecting to yours. What is your region?
region is same. US East.
US East. So it means US 10.
And AWS. Yes.
Okay, now your sub account ID, I think you just ping me. This is this one.
Yes.
Okay, I can say Sirisha sub account. Your mail ID, can you please ping me?
Yeah. One second.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, maybe you can ping me and I'll also, can you request the control?
Shall I be? Okay. Fine. 1 second. Otherwise, I'll ping you in WhatsApp. 1 second.
Yeah, that would be good. Not in
One
the
second.
group, huh?
No, not in the group. Yes. 1 second. Yeah, send that. Even password also I'm sending. I'll send you, Sumit.
Okay. Could not download configuration file. See log and trace file in the particular LJS log consult. Now this log and trace files would be somewhere over here.
Maybe the cloud connected download means it's an installation problem or how?
No, but I mean, for me, it's like I have already configured that right now. I can see the issue with your account anyhow. Not sure what it is because I do have two sub account. I do have three. I'm able to connect to two of them. That's the same process, but what it is saying, it just asks me to check this log file. Do I see any error? Okay, if I just say, do I have a timestamp which says 10, 20, 20, 20? Yeah, more. 10, 23. Okay, it would be like 1051 and admin configuration log trace 400 only for your specific case. We are getting 400. Okay, you do have an account. Your account is just connected over here. I mean, it does not need anything else but just the trial account because that's the only thing that would be required for you to connect to the cloud connector.
Okay.
Mm,
Otherwise, what I will do, Sumit, you can send me that cloud connector installation URL so
okay,
that
can you see? This is what you are looking for, right? This is how
yes.
it is looking for me in the region and everything. I don't have any proxy specified. If you see, it is blank, empty.
Huh.
The
But
initial screen, this is how it is looking.
in the okay.
So this is something I am not specifying. This is something which is coming automatically because I am selecting the region.
Yes, yes, yes.
And post which I am specifying sub account ID as you did.
But default it is asking like a proxy for my for my ID.
No, that's not, I mean, if I just go and edit, it's not allowing me to edit it over here.
It's
Because
an
I mean,
option.
so this proxy is optional. So if you see, okay, I'll just show you this blog as well. So if you see, they are connecting using this, right? Sub account.
Yes.
Now they have specified
Same,
that.
the same thing I have cross-checked 10 days back also, but this still I'm facing the same issue for my account. Why I don't know.
So special with your account then.
Ah, that's the thing.
Okay, okay. If it allows me,
What I will do, Sumit, because I will download this the same thing in another laptop, and I will cross-check. So whether the same issue is happening based on my
okay, you are
laptop
okay.
or normal in my own system, I'll do this process once this
Can you
cloud.
go to your system and check setting? Do you have any proxy specified over there? If yes, then you have to specify. So what this proxy is, you are right, because as it's running on local host,
Hmm.
ideally, if it's your office laptop, then it would have a proxy specified.
Yes,
That
yes.
particular proxy needs to be bypassed over here, and that's why they are specifying it over here.
Okay.
So it would be in your settings. So if you just go in your system, in the system, there would be a setting called proxy. So if you just search for proxy in your setting, all the proxy whichever has been specified, you would find it over there.
Proxy configuration utility is there.
And
Maybe
whatever proxy has been specified, the host and the port.
view current proxy settings. Okay, but HTTP some current setting is there. This what I will do is this I'll cross check and I'll do in my own system, and if any error occurs, then I'll let you know on this.
Yeah,
Sumit.
sure, sure,
Hmm?
no worries. That's
Yeah,
fine for me.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so okay, so maybe we can just go ahead with the actual one. Okay. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
let me know in case you are stuck in
Yeah,
any
yeah,
other questions.
definitely. I'll ping you on this.
Okay. So now we were able to connect to the destinations
Thank,
as well,
thank you.
and yeah, welcome. Okay, so I'm on dev system, my bad. So I'm able to connect to the destination. So once I do have a destination set up for me, I would say I would need a business application studio to connect my application using the service I mentioned. So what I'll do is, okay, so these are dev space, but I am not now looking for that. Then let's just check HANA database is running or not. That's the issue. It just stopped. So I'll just restart that. Now I'll just open my business application studio. So now I want a UI application. So as I mentioned, I usually prefer using the dedicated system. So this is my HANA system. But now as I want to connect to my remote system and use or I can say start creating the application, I'll use my Fiori space instead. So I'll just stop this. And once it has been stopped, I'll just start the another one. So there is my UI space. So what all thing I do have over here is if I just go in edit, it is a Fiori development space where I have just enabled a few of those components. It's like not necessary to be needed, but as I want the CAP application and everything to be consumed, just to have the system basic understanding of that, I am using that. So these are the dev space has been configured for the Fiori. The moment it stops, we would start with UI application generation for the same. Okay, let me just start by then. I mean, if this one is stopping, it should allow me to start another one at least. Okay, by the time it's getting started, let's just also understand one more thing. So we connected to the cloud connector on premise system. Now we are able, we would be creating these are the two steps that we would be performing. Now, all the things that we are doing over here till now are on the Fiori space. Sorry, are on the business application studio in any sort of development space we want to. Uh, many time you would also feel that rather than going with a online SDK, we can it would be good if we can have some sort of local SDK as well. So for example, we want to set up a local development environment. So I'll just open this. When I say local development environment, it means we need a SDK for sure. When I say SDK, it means a development space. So our local SDK is nothing but a Visual Studio code, VS Code. So okay, now Fiori space is running. So I'll just open this as well. But meanwhile, I'll just for the discussion on the local development space, I'll just open this as well. Local development space. What is that? It is VS Code, or we can say Visual Studio Code. Now, I want to, so this is just connecting and mostly we should be good, I guess, in a minute. Yeah, it's connected. Now I want to generate a UI application using the destination I configured. So what I'll do is I'll just say file, sorry, I'll just say find my command because all the additional plugins which we do have, we would need some sort of command palette to run that. So I'll just say Fiori application generator. So can you see open Fiori application generator? So there is something we would be using. And we would be getting the templates. So as we are already having a OData service, which is having its set of annotation specified for a particular application, we would be using that. So I want to generate an analytical list page, ALP application. I'll just go next and say, what would be my data source? So in this case, the data source that I am expecting to be is my system. Okay, so I would like to connect to my system. So I'll just say connect to a system.